The Kinnah is about the Yossi. Shkulas Nisa so you can straight us based on Canaan. That is like the destruction of Beis Hamikdash for many reasons. One, because their loss is also lost because Yisroel, our great tzaddikim, are our glory. Two, because their loss imperils us, because the absence of leaders, the followers suffer. Three, because we lose their lessons. They have obviously what to teach us, and we don't learn anymore. And four, because we lose their squeals. It's silly about Yossi, because I'll tell us that he died in a terrible death. They were so the Kinnah itself tells shot at him, yet he died in peace. Went to his great peace because the Beis Hamikdash was not never below. We're supposed to learn from that, obviously, that because even if we live in peace, we're supposed to feel a great tragedy. We can't feel any peace because we ourselves should be the ones to see the Beis Hamikdash rebuilt. Every generation that doesn't see rebuilt has to mourn as if we're the ones in which was destroyed. The irony of Yossi going to his death peaceably, even though he was dying a horrible death, and we live complacently and not constantly thinking about how can we possibly live without a Beis Hamikdash. The few lines in the Kinnah says the Vatla of only Tzoni Ador. Chazal say that Yossi thought he could go to war against the king of Mitzrayim because he had eradicated all of Avodah. But the Tzoni Ador, what they used to do is they used to put Avodah behind their doors. The Kinnos describes it, and therefore when the people used to come to monitor the Avodah in the household, so they would come to the doors, open the doors, and the doors are open against those walls, and would see the Avodah. When they used to leave the house, that's when the doors would go close again, and the Avodah was still behind the door, and they would worship the Avodah. So the Pella is that obviously, what can they do? Right? What can Yossi do? What can the monitors do? But we see that we can't treat ignorance with lack of responsibility. So Salamander said, if a Jew keeps Shabbos better in Vilna, I think he said, then another Jew will not be Mechaber Shabbos in Paris. There's this connection between all of us. And we can never say we're not responsible. That's quite so Raymond Zello said. And if there's something going on in the world which is not good, it's our responsibility. We have to, even if we don't know about it, even honest, behind the door. So we're responsible for the oven of Tzoni Ador, and it's something which we have to work on our avodah wherever we are in the Churban in order to try and bring about the Gula. The Tzai then we say Tzai Hashem Kipir Morisi. The show says, you're right, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's Matzdik Asadin. There's something also which you have to take a lesson. He says, I shouldn't listen to Eliyahu. Eliyahu told me not to go to war. I went to war anyway. And this is an important point to learn, which is, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, we don't always understand. We'll come back to that many times in the Kinnos. But we have to know that Tzaddik to Hashem Kipir Morisi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did the right thing. The derech of the world is to blame everyone else and not take personal responsibility. We have to understand our responsibility for anything that happened wrong. And but we say that stop to low level echo b'chav beis osios. The Churban was delayed by 22 years because they were so late. They did his hesped for Yossi in 22 letters. So there's the totality of the alibes represents complete introspection. That's why on the Yom Roim, our the vidui is always according to the alibes. The Rabbi Salanter said the truth is this is something which is again it's a recurring theme. The tshuva of the Yom Roim really has to be in the Tisha. Tisha B'Av is a day of tremendous introspection, and we have to go through the entire alibes of our entire lives and see what our shortcomings are and try and do tshuva as a result. And the last point, which is the Kinnah does not end with any consolation. But Soloveitchik says he doesn't know why. He says every other Kinnah ends with consolation, some upnote. This doesn't end with an upnote. It ends just with desolation, the desolation. And I think that this is something which is very appropriate for us in our day and age, in our times, because there's an ongoing war. Jews are getting killed. Jews are in captivity. For us, there's a sense, it's not something which passed. We're not something which we're mourning in the past, that things that are happening to Am Yisrael, which are both a chilul Hashem and a tragedy for us. And it's something which we have to take with us. There is always this idea of Kinesa Munach, the fun of, when we come to Kinnos. There's always something tragic going on, especially now when there's actual tragedies. And this is something which we can keep in mind. It's hard to cry in Abelis Shoshana. It's hard to cry on the past, but we have in the present. So we should keep that in mind. We're saying our Kinnos, that there's not just Kinnos on the past, although the Kinnos, we don't have the power to write such Kinnos anymore, but it's on the present as well.
Just to explain what